Welcome back, it's Nine, and today I got another juicy PlayStation video for you guys. We're talking about the PS5 Supply coming up to the launch of the next generation consoles. We're talking about the Order 1886 developer ready at dawn, and lastly, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Part 3 and what could possibly be happening in that regards. But before we get into that, please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and like the video, it helps the video a ton. Now let's get right into it. This comes from PlayStationLifestyle.net, titled Jim Ryan on PS5 Supply. Sony will begin gauging day one demand. When CNET recently asked SIE executive Jim Ryan how hard it will be for customers to get their hands on the PS5, he said, "Today is a very important day for us because following today, we will see meaningful activity with retailers in terms of the generation of pre-orders, even if it's absent price. But we will be collecting those data points, extrapolating what that means in terms of day one demand. And we've obviously done this many times, and you know we're not perfect, but we're not bad at it either. And that will in turn inform the production process. A lot of very serious work starts for us right now." So it sounds like they don't want to have a short supply of PlayStation 5s at launch. Obviously, I guess that's a given, right? Like, you don't want to have a short supply. You want to sell as many as possible. But obviously, there were some supply chain disruptions based on, what was happening around the world at the time. And of course, still going on right now. This could impact, and very likely will still impact, just how many PS5s we can get out for people to purchase. But it looks like they will be doing their absolute best to make sure that no one feels left out if they are willing to purchase that day one. And I have a lot of confidence in their ability to make enough for people to go out and purchase. The crazy thing is, with the amount of attention the PlayStation 5 videos in themselves have garnered, it makes me believe that this will probably be the most desirable console in a long time. I would say even surpassing the PS4 at launch. So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough to get your hands on one of these. I think even if Sony does their diligence and they really try their best to put out as many products as possible for people to buy, it might actually come down to just having a shortage at the start of the generation. Now, I hope that's not the case, because I'm one of those people that does want it, and I don't want to have to really try so hard just to purchase a console when, it should just be available to us all, hopefully. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens, as other than that, there's not much else to go off of. So on to the next topic. We're talking about the Order 1886. This comes from pushsquare.com, titled The Order 1886 Dev Ready at Dawn Bought by Facebook. Yes, you heard that right. Bought by Facebook. So Ready at Dawn, the developer behind the PlayStation 4 exclusive The Order 1886, has been snapped up by Facebook. As the company explains, the newly acquired group will be joining the Oculus Studios team. In other words, Ready at Dawn will continue working with the VR platform. It's already shipped 4 titles on Oculus, starting back in 2017 with Lone Echo. If you guys remember The Order 1886, it was not overall well received. It was a short game. It wasn't the greatest game out there, especially being an early title on the PlayStation 4. The graphics were impressive. Overall, I enjoyed it, but there was a lot lacking with it. And it also being a 4-hour game was just downright unacceptable, being a AAA studio and all. But I think this spells the end of any sequel being possible for the Order 1886. Mind you, Sony likely still retains the IP for that. And so if they ever do want to go back to it, they can. I just don't think they would. I think it already has some bad karma around it. And it would be crazy to try to revisit a title that didn't do well on its first entry. And I think that'll be it. I think that kind of buries the Order 1886. It's unfortunate because I really was looking forward to maybe one day getting a sequel to this. But I think after selling the developer, that's it. I think that's kind of the end of that, and we likely won't see it again. But you guys are going to have to let me know, did you even enjoy the Order 1886, or am I the only one who I enjoyed my time with it, but I do see why people were upset with it and why it likely wasn't going to get a sequel anyway. But on to our last piece of news. This comes from PSU.com, titled The Last of Us Part 3. Naughty Dog says it would be exponentially harder to justify going back to that world. Neil Druckmann says, I'll be a little vague and cagey as you can expect. But I think the test for whether or not to make a part 3 would have to be a similar test to what we did with part 2. With the first game, there were no expectations, and it was like we could do anything. But now that we've established certain characters and themes and processes, it felt like to justify making a part 2, we had to do something not that fans would just be comfortable with, but do something that would match the emotional core we found in the first game. And without that, there'd be no reason to do a part 3. Finding it with the sequel was much harder than it was with the first game. And going forward, it would be exponentially harder to justify going back to that world and finding a way to vary things up. There's already so many things you've seen about the backstory, about how the outbreak happens, so we'd really have to figure out how to create a new experience that matches the emotional impact of these stories, and I don't know what that is currently. So guys, I don't know if you all have played The Last of Us Part 2. I am in the midst of playing the game. I'm pretty far along. I'm enjoying my time with it. And I don't want to spoil exactly what I think about it, and I also don't want to spoil the game for anybody, but I will be putting a review up to really give you guys my thoughts. This is one of those games that you're going to feel one way or the other about. I haven't talked to anybody who fits like or falls right in the middle. There are people who love it. There are people who hate it. Right now, I don't know how I feel until I complete the game. So with that said, I feel like it's hard to say if I think a part 3 is necessary. Mind you, originally I never thought a part 2 was necessary, and even up till now, I don't necessarily feel that a part 2 was necessary, especially with just how well-rounded part 1 was. But I do understand that there is a huge fan base for The Last of Us, and a part 3 would likely make a lot of them happy. This game has sold a lot, and I mean a lot, like record-breaking amounts of copies. I know there was a report just in the UK that they broke a lot of records. So we know that there's interest in this series, but it's not really a surprise when we're talking about Naughty Dog as a developer. They're very good at what they do, and they create great games. But in the talks of having a part 3, it's hard to say how I personally feel about it, but it sounds like from what Neil Druckmann is saying is that it would take a lot for them to make a part 3, and that would be unlikely for them to make a part 3. In my personal opinion, I don't know yet, but once I complete the game, we'll have a discussion about it, and I'll let you guys know what I think if a part 3 is necessary and what I thought of part 2. But that wraps it up for all the topics for today. You guys got to let me know what you think about what Jim Ryan said about having enough supply and kind of gauging the market. Do you think that we're going to run into a case where there just aren't enough PS5s available for us at launch to buy? And what do you guys think of the Order 1886 developer being sold to Facebook? I think that shocked me. I don't know about you guys. You'll have to let me know. And lastly, do you think there'll ever be a Last of Us Part 3? Let me know in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos. Follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. Share this video with a friend, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Take care.